The problem of human displacement in Africa is large and possibly growing. The African continent has been characterized by a succession of internal population displacements and refugee movements where people are uprooted and forced to abandon their homes by conflicts, persecution and violence. This problem has become complex in nature that even those who succeed in escaping from their own country are unable to find a safe refuge in other states. Women refugees face double jeopardy as compared to their male counterparts as they face difficulties of taking care of their children and siblings in addition to problems associated with refugee status. With support from Baring Foundation, Akina Mama wa Africa (AMWA) embarked on a 3-year project that aimed at building the capacity of local women-led organizations in the West and Eastern Horn of Africa that provide relief to those affected by long-term forced migration and displacement. All organizations that worked in related areas such as human rights advocacy, security, conflict resolution, and post-war reconstruction. To this effect, 2 African Women's Leadership Institutes were held in Ghana for West Africa region and Entebbe for Eastern Horn of Africa respectively to address issues of long-term migration. As a follow-up, Capacity Building Forum was conducted in February 2012 in Entebbe, Uganda, bringing together alumni from the 2 African Women Leadership Institutes, AWLIS. The forum provided a platform for the interaction and exchange of information, experiences and knowledge on issues on gender and long-term forced migration.
That women can, occupy these positions and be able to make impact.
So the questions of who, what, how, trying to know what we mean by women empowerment. I was working a lot. I could stay in the office for as long as I want to stay. I was doing so much, but at the hourly I realized that as a transformational leader, somebody who really wants to impact your society, you also have to pay attention to yourself, your individual needs. And at the hourly, for the first time, I learned to do a work plan and follow my work plan. I did a work plan, and I mentioned there were 3 things that I mentioned in the work plan that I know at the moment that I have started something about. At the hourly, I realized that I needed to pay attention to my education as well. So I decided to go to school as part of my work plan. And thank God that I am in school now. I'm doing my master's. I am also into writing and directing plays in the church. And at the hourly, I decided to develop that talent within me. So I plan to review all my scripts that I have written so far and then start staging them properly. Somehow I didn't do the review, but as of this other hourly that I have come, I have written 5 plays and I have directed them in the church. And next week we are having another one, and I'm using the play to educate people on fistula. And so apart from that as well, I was also working in the Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana. That was where I was when I was selected for the hourly. As part of the action plan I drawn myself at the hourly, I also had plans for my organization, what exactly I want to do to make a difference in my organization. At that time, I was working with the Planned Parenthood Association of Ghana, and it was an organization that provided young people with sexual and reproductive health information and services. So I was a project officer for the youth project, and we had a youth center, and we're doing a lot of community outreach. So I remember in 2010, we talked about women empowerment, what exactly we mean by women empowerment. We talked about breast and cervical cancer. We also talked about the feminine face of HIV, healthy eating, those topical issues about women. And it made a lot of difference. And there I felt that if we are supposed to do meaningful empowerment for women, then I think the time is when these young girls are beginning to form perception about themselves. They are now becoming aware of what they have to do at that adolescent age where they are beginning to know who they are, learning what their culture says about women and what it doesn't say about women. And so as early as possible at that age, when we start reaching them with information for them to be aware of their potential, I think that will go a long way to helping them. And that is what pushed me to start the Sisters Forum. And we moved away from only focusing on girls within the association or the youth center, but we also expanded it for other girls and other organizations to participate in it. And through that, we were able to reach a lot of girls in the community. I remember the minimum we're able to reach per forum is about 60.
Coming to the African Women Leadership Institute in 2010 was a life-changing experience for me. I am what I would self-describe before then as a femi pessimist. I did not believe in the whole feminist movement because I had bought into all the lies that have been said about feminism. At the Auli, what I learned was life-transforming in many ways. Personally, I am an accomplished woman, but I expected that most people would realize what my successes were, or what my good deeds were, or what my results were, by just saying it for themselves. I never knew how to speak up for me or for my organization until the Auli. At the Auli, we had some discussions and dialogue around issues of leadership, organizational leadership, personal development, and that's when my eyes are open to the fact that as an individual you really need to stand up for yourself, speak up for your organization if you're going to forge ahead, and really just get the skills to be able to lead with confidence. Immediately after the Auli, I had several accomplishments that I think are of note. It's only been 3 months at the time we're doing this interview. I was able to approach a major intergovernmental organization whom I had been talking to for over a year about doing a joint project. I nailed down an appointment, and I was very surprised because they went along with my suggestions for the project we should do together. And this year, because of the confidence I got from the Auli, with this partner, we are now beginning a joint partnership which has seen my operations in Nairobi grow from a 12-man team to a 42-man team in 2012. I can only say that this self-confidence that I have come to get since attending the Auli is something I probably wouldn't have learned anywhere, not in school, not through any leadership seminar, but just because I got to get the skills to attend to forced migration work and my particular duties as a leader with a feminist lens. I said earlier that I was a femi pessimist, but at the Auli, what I realized is that there are very many other women who are accomplished, very many heroes who have gone before me, whose experiences I could borrow from and whose lessons I could utilize in my own journey. I have learned to appreciate what being a woman means, to appreciate the strength that I have because I'm a woman, and to learn from the lessons of my sisters who have gone before me. In terms of how I've been able to utilize these skills in attending to the constituency that I serve, I look out more for issues to do with women when it comes to programming. I have been able to begin planning for programs that specifically address the issues of forced migrants, in particular refugee women, in Nairobi and in Uganda, where I have operations. This year, one of the things we'll be doing is starting a new program with sexual and gender-based violence survivors who are women, which will help them to deal with issues of traumas of their past and coping with life in asylum. And this is something I probably wouldn't have focused on before. I would have been going for the traditional SGBB programs. But what I have found is that in Auli, I realized where my voice is, what my voice was, and I now want to give these women a chance to speak up about their own experiences. And we'll be doing this through what are called narrative textiles, which is a way of putting onto textile the SGBV experience that each woman had, and then to be able to use these textiles for advocacy, to highlight the issues that caused their flight, the SGBV issues that caused their flight, and in this way to give them voice. So I would say that the Auli has been very instrumental at a personal level in changing me, transforming me as a leader and as a woman, and to be proud of who I am, of my own accomplishments, and to then take this and use them in my leadership of my organization. As a young woman with regional duties and who's just coming into her prime, I think the Oli is the best thing that happened to me at this time. I have a whole different perspective about myself and about life in general and what I can accomplish as a leader. As a young woman leader with regional duties, I would say that the Oli happened at the best time in my life. I'd recommend the Oli for any young leader and any woman who's looking to transform herself and the world.
Est-ce que vous pouvez nous donner votre nom d'abord?
D'accord, je m'appelle Mam Adam Kandi.
Et vous êtes de quel pays, Adam?
Je suis du Sénégal, je suis de nationalité sénégalaise.
Et quelle est votre désignation aujourd'hui?
Aujourd'hui, au niveau du
Votre désignation aujourd'hui, qu'est-ce que vous faites comme travail aujourd'hui?
Comme travail, je suis consultante en système d'information.
Consultant en système d'information. Et est-ce qu'aujourd'hui vous pouvez attribuer certains changements dans votre vie à la formation?
D'accord. Parce qu'en fait, en 2009, je n'étais pas... c'est vrai que j'avais fait une formation déjà professionnelle, j'étais cadre. Et également, j'avais fait une formation en leadership, mais avant cela, il n'y avait pas, nous étions restés un moment sans qu'il y ait de congrès dans notre parti politique. Et j'ai pu planifier, ou bien cette formation a pu m'aider à préparer le congrès. Parce que le congrès était en vue, mais je ne savais pas comment l'aborder. Mais grâce à cette formation, j'ai pu, au sortir du congrès, avoir un poste de responsabilité important.
Je voulais savoir maintenant d'autres changements que vous pouvez attribuer à la formation. Est-ce qu'au niveau personnel aussi, vous pouvez attribuer par rapport à votre comportement dans la vie, comment vous vous présentez au travail et tout ça?
D'abord, je n'ai plus peur des hommes. J'ai confiance en moi-même. Et également, je ne crains plus trop d'être dans un environnement où il y a beaucoup d'hommes parce que je peux me dire que je peux avoir ma place. Et également, nous échangeons en fait nos expériences entre alumni. Cela nous permettrait de parler enfin de cultures différentes, même si elles étaient toutes africaines, de parler avec des Rwandaises, des Burundaises qui, dans leur pays, avaient des problèmes de démocratie. Oui. Et ça nous a permis de nous ouvrir entre femmes, de sourire, d'apprendre à plus sourire, à plus être heureuse et voilà, d'être plus épanouie en fait, de nous occuper de nous-mêmes.
Et par rapport à votre travail professionnel aussi, est-ce que ça vous a aidé dans le marché de votre travail, dans l'informatique?
Dans le marché de mon travail, en fait, j'avais déjà commencé à travailler dans une organisation non gouvernementale étrangère. Et après, de 2009 jusqu'en 2011, j'ai gardé mon poste. Donc, j'étais à l'aise vraiment, j'avais pas de problème. Mais en 2011, j'ai quitté mon travail parce que pour des raisons spécifiques à l'organisation, mais je n'ai eu vraiment aucun problème avec l'organisation. Oui. Ni par ma compétence, ni de par mon travail, ni de par le moral, ni rien. Mais également, cet arrêt momentané m'a permis de plus m'investir en politique. Parce que d'avril 2011 jusqu'à maintenant, je suis plus libre. Je ne suis pas sous un contrat professionnel précis. Et si je ne l'avais pas eu ce temps-là, je n'aurais pas eu autant de latitude à faire de la politique, à battre campagne pour mon leader.
Donc aujourd'hui, vous êtes consultant freelance comme ça pour
oui.
l'informatique?
Oui.
Ok. Donc, ce que vous avez appris à travers la formation, dans le quotidien, comment vous pourrez utiliser ce que vous avez appris à travers la formation, la planification de carrière, tout ça, l'aspect genre.
L'aspect genre.
L'appliquer
dans la vie politique ou bien dans la vie sociale, tous les deux, comment l'utiliser, c'est toujours être là pour la cause des femmes. Dans la vie sociale, comment faire pour que une femme, enfin que les femmes soient libérées, pour que les femmes participent au développement du pays, au développement d'une famille, au développement de la société, au développement des partis politiques, et que les femmes aient des postes, que les femmes participent réellement.
Ok, je m'appelle Fatoumata Bintou Diédiou. Je suis étudiante en Master 2 de management de projet.
Vous venez de quel pays?
Je suis sénégalaise et en même temps je suis volontaire dans une association qui s'appelle Jonction, qui s'active un peu dans l'éducation, dans le leadership féminin, dans le genre et développement et aussi dans les éthiques et l'environnement aussi. Oui, parce qu'on fait un peu de renforcement de capacité avec des associations locales dans ces questions pour renforcer un peu les capacités des jeunes dans ces domaines. Et en gros, notre domaine d'activité se base surtout sur le renforcement de capacité.
Et quand vous parlez de leadership, c'est-à-dire quoi?
Pour moi, leadership, c'est atteindre un niveau leader, c'est-à-dire atteindre un niveau où vous pouvez aussi encadrer d'autres pour ce que vous avez acquis en expérience, en affirmation de soi pour les femmes. Essayer d'accompagner d'autres dans ce sens, que ce soit politiquement, que ce soit dans d'autres activités de renforcement de capacité, oui. Que ce soit professionnellement. Ouais.
Donc, après la formation que vous avez fait avec Auli, est-ce que vous attribuez certains changements dans votre vie à la formation?
Oui, après la formation, la chose qui m'a le plus apporté de changement, c'est que ça a augmenté mes ambitions de renforcement de capacité, mes ambitions de futur leader, pourquoi pas de futur leader politique, participant au développement de mon pays, oui. Et aussi, ça m'a plus encouragé à faire une formation en ligne en genre et développement que j'ai fait pendant 5 mois avec l'université de Genève.